live. Just like that. Are you all nervous now?
My hands are a little sweaty.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Well, dude, we talk all the time.
I know.
Not
with a microphone.
We kicked it in here for an hour the other day or something.
We did.
So just pretend we're doing more of that. This is part 2.
Okay.
No, but I've wanted to have you on the show for a while just because you are someone that really breaks that like female stereotype, you know? Mm-hmm. And you're a veteran, you're a police officer, you're a jiu-jitsu girl now, a savage jiu-jitsu girl.
Jiu-jitsu Jenny.
Jiu-jitsu Jenny. Mm-hmm. That's right. There's multiple Jennies in my life. You're my jiu-jitsu Jenny. But, you know, I just think that that's an important thing to tell people because, you know, a lot of people get these misconceptions and they think like, oh, like girls shouldn't do this, girls shouldn't do that. Come here and let Jenny put her hands on you and then tell me like she shouldn't be a police officer or whatever the case may be, right? Yeah. And I want to dive into that too because there's 2 sides to that coin for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think you're one of those girls that's very honest and authentic about that side of the job as well. And I'm just curious to kind of dive in on that. But how I like to do the show is just kind of allow you to introduce yourself, who you are, where you came from, and then we'll just fucking have fun with it and go from there.
Okay.
And I like that you're wearing a Navy hat. You just got out of the Navy within what, 1 year ago?
Couple of years ago.
Has it been a couple years already?
Yep.
That's shocking to me because when you were still active duty when we met.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, we're getting old.
I actually just went, it was like 2 years ago that I started jiu-jitsu as well.
Okay. Hell
June of 22.
I usually make fun of people that wear hats that represent their service.
This is my favorite hat.
Because it's like, get over it. You're not of this anymore. You're not of that anymore. But looks good on you. So you can pull it. If girls can pull it off if it looks good on them, right?
Good, yeah.
Yeah. So just introduce yourself.
Okay. Yep. Jiu-jitsu Jenny or Gym Jenny. Born and raised in Texas. Was a swimmer for a long time. So the hat kind of fits there. Did the typical college thing, swam a little bit in college. After that, didn't really know where life was going to take me, so I joined the military because I knew that was going to be a good opening for anything afterwards, right?
I don't know if you can just breeze by I swam a little bit in college. Right? Like if you're swimming as a collegiate athlete, that's pretty high level swimming, even if you're the worst person on the team, right?
Yeah. So they kind of as my parents knew I was always an athlete and they threw me in the pool when I was a freshman in high school. I ended up making state, like year 1 or 2 into high school,
which is pretty
good.
I was gonna say that's uncommon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are swimmers kind of like wrestlers to the fact that the guys that are on the top of the food chain started when they were 4? Is that
right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There was girls that had been swimming since like they were 5, 6, whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, here I am
showed up and started crushing them.
Yeah. So I went to state anywhere from being a sophomore to senior. Got top 3 in state a couple years in a row, and it was fun. College, I wasn't sure about it, but I joined kind of a local college, and I swam there for a year. It was different. I didn't love it so much. It was a love-hate relationship with the pool. So I quit that, but it's okay.
What was your event?
Breaststroke.
Okay, and that's a hard one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100 breaststroke. Yeah.
Is that the one? Or no, I'm thinking butterfly. Butterfly is where it comes out of the water. Is breaststroke the same thing, or is it? Oh, same thing.
Yeah,
okay.
But you pull here instead of both arms out this way.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then freestyle.
I'm fascinated by swimming.
Yeah.
You may not know that.
It's so hard.
I'm not a great swimmer, but the reason that I've become fascinated with swimming is because I signed up for a couple triathlons.
Okay.
And I did an Olympic size or length triathlon, which is a 1 mile swim. And my swimming when I started training was such dog shit that it was like, am I going to be able to do this? This is embarrassing. And I noticed my fitness improving faster through spending time in the water than any activity I've ever partaken in.
Yeah.
And it's almost shocking how like the next day you can do more laps.
Yeah. And you become one with the water. I think it's pressure, when somebody's putting pressure on you in jiu-jitsu, I would rather take that any day over being comfortable. I mean, obviously you can't breathe in the water, but to feel that pressure underneath the water and just become one, that was probably the hardest thing as a rescue swimmer. I can dive into that later, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I want to dive
water
into that
is scary.
later.
Water is scary.
The water is scary.
Yeah.
You hear, I have lots of friends, like the ranger community. We have a very small part of our selection is a small portion of different things that you have to do in the water.
Right.
But it's nothing substantial. But there's people that fail it. Don't get me wrong. But like in the Navy, a lot of my friends that are SEALs, they talk about how the biggest, toughest, most jacked, savage dudes, the way they lose those dudes is in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we don't give a fuck who you are.
Well, how many people bring up swimming on a daily? Or I love swimming or this and that? Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And if you did love it after you spend time as having it in your profession, most people don't like it anymore. Like Andy Stumpf always tells me, he's like, hey, when I come out and visit you sometime, don't even fucking think about inviting me out on your boat. Because I have no interest in being on the ocean ever a fucking again.
It's scary. Water's scary.
Yeah, water is scary.
So
then you did a year in college and was just kind of like not feeling the vibe.
It's hard. College sports different. It's not as fun.
Feel more like a job?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're beating yourself up.
Were you on scholarship or did you just get picked up?
I don't even remember. I feel like I would remember if I was on scholarship.
Okay.
But I don't know if they paid towards.
It's probably safe to say no then.
If they might have paid into like different loans or, hey, we'll cover this area, that area, but I don't think it was straight walk on.
Okay. So it wasn't an
D1.
incentive to bring you on board.
No, but it was something that I knew I could probably accomplish or get it covered later.
Yeah.
But it was a job. And at 18, I don't know what I want to do.
Of course not.
No.
I'm 43 and I
still
don't know what I want to do.
So, yeah. And then did the whole, I quit that, changed my degree over like 7 different times, graduated from the University of Utah.
Okay.
In Salt Lake City. And then that's kind of when I found CrossFit as well, like 12 years ago. So dove into that.
So you were CrossFit coach pre-Navy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I got certified back in 2012, I think.
Okay, so kind of
I was new.
You're kind of old school then. That was a lot of people weren't in it back then.
No. Yeah. So dove into that, jumped right into it, excelled at the seminar. You go and you get certified or whatever. And I got coached by Matt and Cherie Chan. They're OG guys. Dove into it, loved it. And I think the one regret I have is I think if I would have taken it a little bit more seriously with like, no, I'm going to, because a goal of mine, a dream of mine has always been to go to the games, even as like a teen. I think I would have made it at least as a teen and then it would have carried over, but I was broke.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to manage all that. I didn't have people to be like, hey, let's go to the games.
Yeah.
I picked CrossFit up so quick. So quick.
So I'm going to use Cam Haines' phrase and just say, must be nice.
Yeah.
Because you're one of those people that's just a very, very naturally gifted athlete.
Yeah.
And I don't say that, like a lot of people will say that with like a negative connotation, like it came easier for you. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case. Mm-mm. I see you put the fucking work in, at least on the mats, you know, like when you're here to train, let's fucking train. Yeah. And I'm sure that was always been your approach.
Yeah. I like to be, I think I've settled with, I like to be good at a lot of different things. One thing is boring to me, just being really good at one thing. And I'm not knocking anybody. Like I'm not an Olympic athlete, right? I don't think I could do that. Like sit here for years and just be dedicated to that one thing.
I like lift or having one stroke.
Yeah, which is great. I'm kind of jealous, but I like to have all different hats.
I'm very similar to that, where it's like to be the best at something, you literally have to preclude yourself from doing anything else in life.
Anything else.
And you see that with like the jiu-jitsu guys or whatever it is. Like that is your focus. That is your life. Yeah. Do you still, is the CrossFit game still something that you would consider at some point in your life?
Masters ages, it starts at 35. I'm 31.
Okay. So getting old
I could stop hurting.
Being old is right around the corner.
Yeah.
But the same thing though, you'd probably have to step away from some
Yeah.
other activities, step away from
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to. Because being in here, like being a savage on the mats, and like, I love that.
Well, especially as a police officer now.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
I say it all the time. Like jiu-jitsu is a great hobby for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For police officers, I think it needs to be mandatory.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know why, if you're not training, you're foolish.
And you're 2 years in now, right? Or
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and it, after because when I was planning on leaving the Navy, right, law enforcement kind of just, I don't know, the door was open there.
Yeah. It's a very natural transition.
Yeah.
A lot of, I mean, I did it myself. I saw a lot of my friends do it where it's just, you leave one agency and you're seeking some of the similar things that you had, but you also want change, right?
Yeah.
I know for me, like the military, just having zero autonomy over your life gets kind of old.
Yeah.
And so leaving the military started to become appealing, but then I thought, I could get some of the aspects, like the camaraderie, the structure, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And what I found is, I mean, we don't need to make this my story because people have heard my story a million times, but it's very dependent on the agency. And some agencies really capture that, or I should say captivate people and allow them to feel that type of camaraderie, that type of brother and sisterhood.
Yep.
And like I said before we started recording, we don't have to put your agency out there just because I know like sometimes policy or whatever, but everything you've said about your agency to me personally, it sounds like you're really happy with it.
I am.
And that's fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've kept in touch with a lot of your academy classmates.
Yep.
How many of them are disgruntled? There's probably
only a handful, but I
only a handful.
Well, okay, I don't know, but I only talk to the ones that are.
You only talk to the fucking savages. You don't talk to those complaining negative Nancys.
Yeah, the ones that have invested in my life, and that still care and check in on me if shit goes haywire over here. They check in on me.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. So,
well, I mean, when I went through, and I mean, also the era of law enforcement that I was part of, at least up here in Washington State, was like 2017 through 2020. And that was a tough time to be a cop.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that were really disgruntled with the profession. But now that I've been removed from it for a couple of years, I don't have that front row seat anymore. But I feel like talking to a lot of people at the gym, you being one of them, it sounds like the culture shifted and the profession of policing is actually becoming something that people are enjoying again. That makes me happy to hear. Because, dude, you can't.
Military's not like that. It'll always be in the snowball effect of just salty.
What do you mean by that?
Like the morale in law enforcement, I wasn't around in 2017, but just kind of listening to what you've been saying and then what you've been observing with us newer officers coming into the profession, it's gotten better. Like military, like so many different people are getting out. People that I've served with, they're still like, man, fuck this. They're just in it for a job and money, but it's the same way. Nothing's getting better.
I hear that from literally everybody that is still active duty.
Yep.
And it makes me sad. Because the military has the potential to be a very fun and powerful career. Yeah. But for whatever reason, it's
leadership.
Of course, everything comes down to leadership. And that's why a lot of departments are dog shit. And then a lot of departments such as yours are a fun, productive place to work at.
Well, and we have a chief, our new chief. I think he's balanced, like, obviously he's been around for many years, but he's balanced, like, the older, the OG stuff when he came in, and then the adapting to newer things and like newer officers. It's 2024. It's different, but, and there's a TV show now that we have. And so he's done a great job on balancing, like, how can we get more people to come, right, and boosting morale, and just, balancing also society and what everybody else wants from us. And so, it's been great.
One of the things that was always kind of hard for me in the profession is how many hats you're expected to wear. And some people like that though, because it's day in and day out, it's something different and you don't know what the day is going to bring. So on one hand, that's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
But for me,
Frustrating.
I was going to say, for me, on the other hand, it can be frustrating because I like to be very good at what I'm doing. Like when I was a ranger, it was very clear, like, hey, raids, recons, and ambushes, shooting your weapon, being fit, CQB tactics, like the things to make me a good ranger were very clear. And because that's the case, I could excel at it. But being a cop is, you never fucking know. And there's a lot of stuff that comes up that's like, wait, what? And so I'm sure you've already felt that. And
I've let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. A part of it's like knowing, accepting, like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but I trust myself that I'm going to figure it out. Right.
Yeah.
And as long as you know that you completed something, you'll never make everybody happy in this job. Like they call for everything, you know.
What's the stupidest call you've ever got?
That's hard.
Do any come to mind?
Not yet. I'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I really dislike civil stuff. So people call police for anything, you know, I'll have to think about that because we hit so many every day. I'm like, it just gets stored, you know? But kind of knowing that I can't make everybody happy, but knowing that I'm still learning about it all, like it just humbles me. Right. So I have to really drop being frustrated and all that stuff because it's never going to get better.
That's interesting coming from you because I know, and I don't say this with any negative connotations, but you're kind of a perfectionist.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like you even said 10 minutes ago, you're like, I like to be good at things. I like to be good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
Most people are like, I am either like a jack of all trades, master of none, and you're like, I'm going to master everything.
Yeah. Well, it's just, for me, it's boring.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. You're an athlete here. What else have you done in life? It just builds your story, right? Yeah. So I've tried this. And one of my friends that lives down Kirkland South area, she's like, hey, come windsurfing. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll do it. It just adds to you as a person and like what you've done in life. Because when you, like, my dad has always said, like, at your obituary, what are they going to read about you? Oh, that you're nice. Okay, you did some things. You worked here and there for 20 years, but what else?
Yeah.
What, like, how decorative of a person are you?
He was a good guy. But anytime you are described as a good guy, there's a but following.
Yeah. But,
my neighbor, he's a good guy.
But. Yeah.
And then you get to start to unpack the shitty aspects of those people.
Yeah. That's my opinion. I just want to be that person that's like, dang, she did a lot in life.
Yeah.
You know, she succeeded at a lot.
And that's supposed to be what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're supposed to leave this world at like fucking wheels falling off, burning in, smoking. Because like, dude,
we have to leave a legacy behind.
Yeah, that's what we're fucking here to do.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
When you say your department, we have a TV show.
Yeah. Well, we don't. It's called On Patrol Live. It's been around for, I think, a few years now. I just discovered it kind of when they brought it on to the...
Is it local to Washington or do they go all over the country?
They go all over the nation. So like on Friday and Saturday nights, it's live, right? And so they'll be like, oh, let's check out something in Florida and then go back over to Everett or whatever.
It's literally following a patrol officer live.
It's so fun.
I was going to say, I want nothing to fucking do with that, dude.
I don't mind it. It's something that I can be like, to my future kids, be like, Mom was on that.
That's like having a body cam, which is bad enough.
We still have that. So
being aired live.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Really? You like that, huh?
Yeah.
How did that opportunity come up?
I think it's been presented for a while. I think they asked us a while ago, but then the whole Dan Rocha thing happened. He passed away a couple years ago, and so the department needed to focus on that first, and not bring obviously all that attention there. So and then my chief recently was like, "Hey, let's do this," and then they actually threw one of the main producers with me on a ride along. So I was like, "Yeah, here we go," and then. Yeah, that was on the first episode 2-3 weeks ago.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
How long is it?
So the episodes are actually really long. It's on Peacock.
Okay.
Watch it on Peacock or Reels. I don't know what that is, but I don't even know this show. I'm like, okay, sure, like sign me up, I guess. Well, actually, I was voluntold. We'll just leave that there.
But you enjoyed it, so you got voluntold
it was
for
fun.
something that was
Yeah,
good.
because I think the society needs to see like,
Well, and that's
we're
what I was
normal too.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. What is the motivation of your chief to
recruitment, and just to bring a little bit of normalcy, I think, in my opinion. Like, I haven't talked to him directly, but I think normalcy. Like, we're normal people. We're normal human beings too. We just have to do this difficult job that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah. Dude, and a lot of people, because like I'll still serve comments and shit on.
Yeah.
I follow a lot of those Instagram pages like Police Post or Effective Training, and it shows cops fucking up all the time.
Yeah.
Right. But again, they're showing specific incidents of cops making mistakes, not to put them on blast, but more as like a learning point. Right.
Right.
But the comments are still just
crazy,
filled
hateful
with how much people hate cops.
I would like you to do our job for 1 hour. 1 hour. You won't be back.
But the opposite side of that is there's still a lot of cops. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a percentage of cops that are just kind of shitty people, and they're just dicks.
Yeah.
And I feel like, something I've thought about when I used to pull people over, I used to always try and make their day better.
Yep. That's my goal every day.
Right? Like,
yep.
I'm not here to cite you and start to generate revenue. I'm here because of some type of mechanical deficiency, or you were operating your vehicle in an illegal manner. Let's just have a conversation about it and be cool and have fun. Right? Yeah. So that was like a pre-planned, thought out way in which I wanted to interact with people. Cause I was like, dude, if people look at cops as like, man, that guy pulled me over and he was cool, we're combating that stereotype. Yeah. But I honestly think if 10 cool cops pull you over and then one just prick does,
it's the one.
What's gonna be embedded in your memory? What are you gonna tell stories about around the dinner table? Yeah. And I think it's like anything in life. A small percentage of shitty people usually ruin it for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the professional law enforcement's any different.
No, because I was even going to say there's 10 cool cops, but the one sucks. They're going to remember that one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was told the other day I was arresting somebody who was in the back of my car, and he was like, "You must be the coolest officer ever." I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, yeah, sweet. Like, I'm going to treat you as a normal human being. Like, yeah, you didn't take care of your warrant, but I'll just be here as an Uber to send you up, and you can take care of it yourself.
Well, and one thing that I used to try and tell myself is this person's issue with the judicial system is between them and the judicial system. It has nothing to do with you. You are just facilitating
but I'm still the bad person.
You're just facilitating part of the process. But if you intentionally don't take these things personally, it's a lot easier to humanize those people. Mm-hmm. I can't do it with child molesters. Like the handful of interactions I've had with child molesters when I was a deputy, it's like I can't even say hello to you. Mm-hmm.
It's off.
Something's off. It's off.
Yeah.
And I don't care if I'm a police officer and I have these policies and this code of ethics. I want to smash your head in with a rock. Yeah. And if that's the vibe I have towards you, we're probably not going to have a good conversation in the back of my police car.
Those people.
But a lot of people that I've arrested especially when I was in Los Angeles, it was a big gang culture. So a lot of the federal stuff down there is all RICO and conspiracy. Yep. And man, I'm here to tell you, a lot of those fucking dudes are cool.
Yeah.
A lot of the gangbangers are cool.
I don't think they have a problem with you. It's like, it's gang versus gang.
That's what I'm saying.
Less, yeah.
No, it's funny. On the federal side of things, they don't have, it's funny because you always hear like, oh, fuck the police and all the stuff like in the rap culture and stuff. But when you're actually dealing with those dudes face to face, man, they're respectful and they're usually pretty cool. Yeah. And it's exactly like you said, like they have beefs with different gangs and they have like all of these rules and these codes of ethics that they have to live by, and they're honored. They like all of these things that are very similar to the way that we live, but they're just on the other side of the law. But as far as who they are as people, they're not bad people. No. They're just people that are making bad choices.
Yeah. And you can influence those people
100%.
easier, I think.
Have you already had, I'm sure, some pretty wild conversations with people that you're taking to jail?
Yeah, and a lot of it's like just their childhood. That's where they get started because that's all they know. They know the streets. Their parents were using drugs, when they were little. So that's all they know. But then a lot of times they just want to talk and have me listen. And then they feel so much better, right? And know that I'm not, I'm in uniform and armed and all that stuff, but just know somebody's paying attention to them and actually caring for them for the first time.
Yeah.
That changes them.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah. And like, it's the eye connection too, right? So one of these guys, he's DOC and he always, he doesn't check in or whatever, because they have very strict rules.
Yeah.
He gets warrants a lot. And I, whenever I see him, I just make sure that he's good and know that we're here for him. And I see it though, this change slowly coming. So it might not be tomorrow that he becomes a better person, but yeah. And if people want nothing to do with me at that time, I'm like, okay, we'll just know that I'm here. I still put that little, that little thing in their head.
Yeah. You're doing the right thing. What they do with it's on them.
Yeah.
No, I think that's cool, man. And a lot of people will say like, they're not willing to give anybody a pass or look at it from a realistic perspective. Like, oh, well, so-and-so grew up in the ghetto and now he's this. And it's like, yeah, you can always point out those anomalies, but more often than not, just being that outlier that can pull yourself up by your bootstraps and break the cycle of criminal behavior, break the cycle of drug addiction, to be that person.
Drugs.
Easier said than done, man.
Yeah.
And if I'm being completely honest, if I grew up in the environment that some of those people grew up in, there's a good chance I'd be on the other side of it, and that's just reality.
Yeah. No, it's, I'm told that I'm way too nice, on the road. But as soon as if you're messing with me, you're fucking with me on the road and I grab you, you'll know that I'm serious, but then we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
So I think that people really respect that too. But yeah.
Well, what does that mean, being too nice to people?
I don't know.
Shouldn't you be too nice to people? Shouldn't you be too nice? Like I get what people say from a tactical standpoint. They're like, if you're too nice to them, then you're going to have this false sense of trust. And then they're going to get you when you're not expecting it. It's like, no.
You're not letting your guard down.
What you're telling me is you think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
You're not saying I'm too nice. You think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Because I can be completely nice to this person, and in one fraction of 1/2 of a second, I can be picking up a brick and caving his skull in. Yeah. Like I'm mentally and physically prepared to do that. But I don't have to be at that heightened state on a what if.
Yeah.
And then another thing you need to think about, and I heard this as a young deputy, and I've taken this phrase and made it my own, but it's probability versus possibility.
Sure.
Right? We have to operate inside of probability, because the possibility that this happens or the possibility that happens, you could start coming up with scenarios that are so fucking outrageous that every single aspect of your day is like you're on a combat operation in 04 Fallujah, right? And so instead of always feeling like, what if this, what if that, what if this? And I'm not saying don't war game, right? You can have those what ifs in your head.
Is it like it's not if, it's when?
Yeah.
Along the lines of that?
Yeah. And you can, and it's okay to carry those thought processes and believe that is the case, but you can still operate in a more relaxed manner as opposed to always being amped up.
Yep.
Because always being amped up is not like, dude, I know people I've talked about on the podcast before, a deputy that I worked with would clear his house every time when he got home from work. Because what if somebody was here? What if somebody came in while I wasn't home? Or guys that are like, I know another guy that's like, I will never use a urinal in a public bathroom. I'm like, why? He's like, because your guard's down and your back's exposed.
So they never turned it off.
And it's like, okay, yeah, you're right. But what's the probability of a guy coming back up behind you while you're taking a piss and trying to snatch your neck or whatever the fuck he thinks is going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And bro, I'll fight you to the death with my pants around my ankles. I don't give a shit, right? You know what I mean? Like, let's go. But it's weird to me. Or I'm sure you have coworkers who like won't sit if the door,
Yeah.
if the chair at the restaurant isn't facing the door, that kind of stuff. Like, fuck,
Well,
man, fuck, relax.
I'm able, you, going back to the
Unless
going
you're that
home
person.
thing. No. I've thought about it, but then I'm like, no, I'm not at work. Like, got to be prepared for something. But I also have that awareness.
Yeah.
Like in general. So I don't need to like act like this robot or whatever. When you go home, you'll know if somebody's inside.
That's what I'm saying, right? If something
Like,
feels
if you go to a
off,
house to clear it because there's some sort of alarm or burglar or whatever, and you see that there's forced entry, you know that somebody's inside. But if you go home at the end of shift, everything seems normal, and you don't get that gut feeling that something has happened, just turn it off and go inside.
So it sounds like you're saying, listen to your intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so quick story. The other day I was on a walk with my dog, and we live in a neighborhood. So, but it was relaxed. There was some kids around, some adults walking their dogs as well. And I was kind of on a main road. I have my AirPods in, not paying any attention. And this guy tries to get my attention from across the way, right? He's on the other side. And I'm like, just trying to ignore it. 'Cause I'm like, I don't know who the fuck he's talking to. Like, I don't know. So I'm just walking.
Like crazy crackhead dude, or
No,
a
just
dude that thinks you're
normal.
hot and wants to connect with you?
Yeah. Well, creepy. So
Creepy guys could think you're hot.
that's fine. Stay far away. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with you. So he's on the other side, and I finally figure out, without even paying attention, intuition,
Yep.
right? Gut feeling, all that. He's trying to talk to me. So he like looks, he's like, can I cross the road? He's from on the other side, knowing that I have AirPods in. And I turn to him and I'm like, what?
Uh-huh.
I've never said that to anybody before. Like, my intuition kicked in so fast. I was like, and so I like kind of like, because I'm by myself, right? Walking. And my dog, he's friendly to everybody. My God. But my dog kind of goes over to him because he crosses the road. He comes to me and I'm like, what do you want? And he's like, I was 2 blocks away from home. He's like, do you live here? And I was like, no, I'm walking through. It's like, what are you trying to do? And he's like, oh, I'm trying to find something, but I don't know where. And I was like, can't help you. And so I just stare at him until have you ever just stared at somebody so awkwardly they finally walk away? I do that so often.
His initial plan was to figure out how to ask you out.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Ask you out on a date.
This heats me up. That day, this was just Sunday. I was like, I'm carrying. I know that sounds silly. Like, I don't carry. I carry at work. It's the last thing I think about, but this is the world that we're in now.
If I'm out walking my dog, I'm carrying.
I know.
Yeah.
But like, it always takes, in my opinion, one situation for somebody to be like, that's it, I'm carrying.
Yeah.
So that was for me.
Oh, that was it.
That was it for me.
You were like, you wished you didn't have a gun on you at the time? Or
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't. So now I'm going to go, get like a 43 or something. And I also ordered the fanny pack from Fieldcraft Survival.
Dude, it's a nice one.
I know.
So you gotta get the Kydex inner, right?
Yep.
And then with the Velcro,
yeah,
and it's a cool setup.
I'll order that too. But yeah,
before you buy a 43, because I have a 43 and a 48.
Okay.
I would implore you to come out on the range and shoot them.
Sure.
Because I hate the 43.
I'm very good at shooting, by the way.
Are you really?
Very good. It's fucking great.
It's
one of my favorite things to do.
Have you always been good at shooting?
Yes.
Did you shoot does the Navy even shoot?
Yes, we do. Expert every time. We can be on deployment, rocking and rolling. Boom. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So now what do you carry? Glock 19?
Yeah. A lot of people carry 17s, but I carry the 19.
Okay.
It fits better in my hands.
Yep.
Just, yeah. So
I like the 19 better than the 17.
Yeah.
And I have big hands, but I honestly think it's because I was issued a 19 in 04. That's what I carried in Iraq for years.
Okay.
And that's my gun.
Yeah.
My favorite gun now is the 19X.
Okay.
Because it's the 17 handle length, but it's still the 19 frame.
Okay.
And I like that shorter frame.
Mm-hmm. Me
and
too.
I actually shoot better with it.
Yeah.
All right. So what is, how good of a shot are you with a pistol? Same thing? Like fucking.
I mean, unless we're like 35 yards.
Fucking dead eye.
Oh yeah. Like I learned on irons, but now we have red dots.
What kind of red dots are you guys running?
The Holocene.
Okay.
Yeah. The SCS.
All right. Let's get your department switched over to Vortex.
Oh yeah.
Have your fucking your procurement officer get in touch with me.
He was a gunner's mate in the Navy.
Okay.
Yeah, senior chief. I could talk to him.
Dude,
open.
You know, part of me was joking, but let's fucking do it.
Oh.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Red dots changed the game.
Yeah.
With pistols.
Yeah.
And people think like a lot of people were reluctant to jump on the red dot bandwagon.
Why?
It's cheating. Or like, oh, it's equipment. It could fail. Like all these things, right?
Everything can fail. That's why you go through malfunctions with your firearm.
I do, but like Lappin said, he's like, bro, can you imagine if someone were to tell you having a red dot on your AR is stupid? Go back to iron sights like we did in Vietnam, right? He's like, that would sound so silly because we've been running red dot aim points in the Ranger Regiment since before I got there,
right?
You know, so that's just, that's a normal part of that weapon system now is running some type of optic on it. And it took a long time for people to have that same mindset and apply it to pistol.
Yeah.
But when you shoot red dot with a pistol, your shooting improves dramatically.
It improves your iron sight, so you don't even need to.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's not just, oh, this piece of equipment makes the gun easier to use. That's not what I'm saying. That piece of equipment teaches you. What it does is it exaggerates all of the errors in your marksmanship fundamentals. Yes. So if your grip, stance, breath,
it shows you everything.
Through,
it paints
all
a
that
picture.
stuff. That's right. It shows you what you're messing up at a higher degree. Because you know, like that red dot, it starts doing that figure eight, and it's like there's days when it's like I drink a couple coffees and I look through that window and I was like, fuck, dude, I shouldn't have had this much caffeine. Mm-hmm. You don't feel that really with iron sights. Mm-hmm. And Lappin's actually run some pretty comprehensive tests where he had periods of time, like they would measure iron sight proficiency and then a block of time running red dots only, and then go back and run iron sight proficiency tests again. And the data shows that the red dot makes your iron sight shooting dramatically better. Yep. So it's
Point
cool.
And shoot. Point and shoot.
Point and shoot.
Yeah,
and now, and like, we'll go out to my range here. Maybe we'll do it after Guns and Geese.
Sure.
Because I'll have all the, our company Glocks up here. I took all the girls out last year. I don't know if you saw that video. It was Angie, Rachel, Jenny, and like all those girls. Yeah. And we had them hitting at 100 yards with pistol.
Sweet.
And it's like, that's unheard of for a lot of people.
Hey, center mass.
Fuck
somewhere there.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. We have steel E-type silhouettes that are they're the C zone of the E-type. Mm-hmm. And there's like nothing better than hearing that ding.
I know.
I don't even really like any other style of training anymore.
No.
I just like to go out there and see how far I can shoot my steel E-types.
So our training right now is a lot of it consists of like moving and shooting and sprinting and shooting and with our ARs or, you know, whatever. And that's
good.
Hard.
That's good. That's stress shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And what a lot of people don't realize is we understand it because we come from jiu-jitsu world or you come from CrossFit world where like your athletic performance is funny. I was talking to the Nogi guys about this last night. Your athletic performance takes a massive hit when fatigue starts to set in.
Yep.
That's why if you want to be a jiu-jitsu guy and you haven't learned A, how to manage your energy while you're fighting, and B, how to get yourself in really, really elite level shape.
Yeah.
Being a competitor is going to be hard. And people don't think of shooting as being a competitor, but let's be honest, it's the biggest competition on planet Earth, right? And whatever your scores are with your AR and your Glock, put yourself through 5 minutes of rigorous exercise and then test yourself again and see how dramatically that can change.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic happens. When Mike Glover was up here last year, he ran a full course and then he's like, all right, now we're going to do a little exercise to demonstrate some things to you guys. Everybody, and Cadre did it too, right? To show like, hey, we're in it with you guys.
Right.
It's not like drill sergeant shit, but we did 5 minutes of hard exercise.
I think I saw it. There was a video.
Doing crazy burpees in the mud and shit. Yeah, we're getting down. But a lot of those dudes couldn't hang. And the wheels completely fell off with 5 minutes of exercise. And that's what Mike said. He's like, I didn't do this to like make anybody feel bad or make you feel like you're less than. It was nothing like that. It's an opportunity to show you guys being a gunfighter requires a certain level of fitness.
Yeah.
And
like mental strength.
Yeah. But think about, people always talk about mental strength and physical strength like they're different things. I don't necessarily think they are.
Well, when you quiet this, then everything else kind of flows.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, where have you felt like you've developed the toughest mental fortitude? Maybe underwater.
That was the toughest school
Right?
I've ever been to.
Underneath someone on the mats.
I was okay with this.
Are you okay with that?
Very much. I'll close my eyes. I'm like, okay.
Even if it's a ton of pressure on you, that's cool.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Because, dude, I'm not that way.
I'm one with it.
When I'm getting my ass kicked, and it doesn't happen very often just because like there's not a lot of black belts around here that push me,
Right.
Like I don't get beat up very often on the mats anymore. So when it happens,
everybody's going to come for you.
They're still like, fuck, man. Like I still have to manage the emotions of losing. And here's the thing, I don't quit. So it's like, if I was a secret quitter, I don't even think I'd talk about this. I'd just like hope that nobody would find this out. Right. But I go through like an emotional dump when I start losing that I usually have to be like, bro, get it together. Yeah. You're fucking losing a fight.
It has to be in a snap of finger.
And that's the thing, like that conversation you have with yourself is probably a fraction of a second, but it's still weird to me feeling those emotions of losing a fight. And so, the whole reason that I brought that up is like the way that you develop mental fortitude, I think, is through physically arduous tasks.
Absolutely.
And that's why they're not really separate. They're one and the same. Yeah. Have you ever done any mountaineering?
No.
You would be a good mountaineer.
Sure, let's do it. Okay, just another thing.
Well, me and my buddy. Have you met Sheely? I feel like you know Sheely somehow. I don't know. Okay, he's my best friend since we were little kids. Okay, and we climb Rainier every couple of years. I've
always wanted to go.
We've done 5 summits out of 7 attempts. We got snowed out a couple times, and I see why people are addicted to the mountains because it is mental fortitude on a level that I don't think anything else can touch. Yeah, it's fucking gnarly.
I spent many years in Colorado, so climbing 14ers was just another weekend.
Okay, so then you are a mountaineer. Yeah. Because Rainier is just a 14er. Yeah.
I've climbed Mount Fuji.
Okay.
That straight up volcano, that's rough. And like I don't feel when I'm like hiking, that especially that high, right? Less oxygen, all that. Like that's when it's tough for me.
It's tough for me too. Yeah. I think it's tough for a lot of people.
No. When I'm hiking like that, it takes forever for me to recover. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's a lack of oxygen.
Yeah, I think it hits me hard. Yeah.
Let's shoot up a bunch of EPO before we do it. Well, I'll edit that out so your department doesn't hear that.
I didn't say yes.
Dude, tell me, we glossed over it and I want to take it back because after college, you said you became a CrossFit instructor and did that life for a little bit.
During college.
Mm-hmm. When did the military start becoming something that you thought?
I've always admired it. Always admired the structure.
Did you come from a family of military or anything like that?
Maybe my grandpa's, but nobody in my immediate family. I dated a guy that was in the Navy as well, so I always admired like what he had to do, the structure, I just do well with that. Mm-hmm. So I think it was, when did I join? It wasn't even until 2017 or 18 that I joined. Okay. So it was a few years later.
How old were you when you went in?
25.
Did you go officer or enlisted?
Enlisted.
Okay.
I wanted to do things with my hands. I didn't want to be like a paper pusher.
Good.
Yet. I mean, that was a track for me, is to be a Mustang, go from enlisted to officer, right? If I stayed in.
Yeah. Dude, I think that should be mandatory. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but if you're going to
to enlist?
No. If you want to be an officer, is to do your first tour as enlisted.
Yeah, or a couple.
Because that shows you.
The first tour is never, you still don't even know like what you want to do. I think it should be a couple tours.
As enlisted?
Uh-huh.
And then go officer?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should even make it mandatory for at least men to go enlisted for a couple of years when they're 18.
Can you define what a man is? I'm kidding.
I really don't know.
I won't put you on the spot.
Right?
Like
no,
that.
or a woman.
I'll tell you what.
For a couple of years.
I go back and forth on that because I do believe that some type of mandatory service to your country and the Peace Corps or the military could broaden your horizons, teach you so much, give you perspective. Like all those things are kind of undeniable. Mm-hmm. But then the other side of that coin is I'm trusting the government less and less, and I don't want them to have any type of autonomy over my daughter's future.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like if you want to join, cool. But if you don't have the, like, they literally just talked about opening up, I shouldn't say the draft. Everyone was saying that they're going to draft women.
Yeah.
What they said is they want to allow, or there's a debate. Do we bring women into the selective service? Which means you would have to register for the draft. That doesn't mean you're actively getting drafted, right? But I'm here to tell you right now, my daughters are not going to war.
Yeah. Well,
I will die first.
Right.
Unless they want to.
Well, that's why I just said men.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, y'all were created first. You went to war first. Everything, right? It just makes, I don't know. That's me. Like,
so I love that you said that because you're the one of the toughest females I know. And you are comfortable saying, we're not the same.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're not. Like no. So when I also didn't know about being an officer. They just get you, like, okay, you're going to ship out and you're like, what's happening?
So what, you just went to the recruiter and was like, hey,
sign me up.
What do you got? Mm-hmm. You didn't have any aspirations or MOS that you were interested in?
No, because nobody in my immediate family, I had some friends that were like, sure, join and watch out for this and that. But there was nobody like pouring into my life. Like, nope, we're going to go this way.
So you literally just thought, dude, I'll just join the military and see what happens.
Yeah.
Did you choose your MOS or was it kind of just, did they just needs of the Navy you?
Needs of the Navy. And then I chose later.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your initial, is it called MOS or rate or
rate?
Yeah.
Okay. But I understand. No, I didn't have anything. You like go in the Navy, it's like undesignated and then you can pick later. So.
Okay. And by pick meaning voluntold?
Different. No, it depends on the availability. So you like write down on a list, like your top 3 to 5 rates.
Okay.
And then from there, they like essentially just, tell you what to do.
So what was your first?
I became an operational specialist. So I would do anything from like radars. It's a lot.
Okay. I was gonna ask if you operated specialized things.
Well, I did drive warships. I became a master helm. So I was telling you the other day, I was like, if you need, that was so cool to be able to drive warships. Like during, when they do the unreps, when the ships are here together.
Unreps?
They're unreplenishment details.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Okay, so ships connect. So we'll have the big ship that has all of our supplies. If we're on deployment, like we can't always just pull into a port.
Okay.
I mean, we do get, food and everything, supplies, everything we need in port. But if we're out to sea for however long, right, we need a ship to come up. So we connect the ships together.
How do they connect?
Lines. Big.
Oh, you just literal just fucking tie the boats together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally. And I
was expecting some high speed docking mechanism, and not docking like the gay shit.
Yeah. Right. No. Pause.
Yeah, pause. Will you delete that? Will you edit that out?
No,
for me?
don't do it.
Yeah, I just figured the Navy would have some type of secret tunnel that would open up from
they do helicopters also bring. So if we've been underway for months and we need a shit ton of supplies. The helo will bring over.
Sorry, when you said underway, I just thought of the saying it's not gay when it's underway.
Yeah, the amount of times. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll get wild out there. So we'll have the helo come over and drop stuff off too, but then the ships are literally tied together and the pallets just on the high line. I can't remember what all the parts are called now, but the high line. So this like zip line almost will just go from ship to ship. It's crazy. It's one of the most dangerous operations out there for ships. People can get killed. Like if you're, you'll get ripped right through the bits, where the lines go in the ship. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. So I was able to drive. The difficulty with driving a warship linked up to this other ship is crazy. So I was able to drive during different operations. Those pictures, the flybys and then all the ships in multiple positions out on the water.
Yeah, of course.
I would do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What ship were you on?
I was never on an aircraft carrier. I was always on small boys. So cruiser and then a destroyer.
Okay.
Yeah. So
how big is a destroyer?
Destroyers are smaller than cruisers. Cruisers would reach up to a few hundred people, and then destroyers maybe 350. Okay. But it just different weapon systems. So like the cruiser had 2 5-inch guns, and then just different missiles, right? So just kind of that's a lot of the differences.
Do you think that we'll ever have another massive naval engagement?
I don't know. Well, so I don't know, because every single time we're on deployment sailing around the China seas, we would have Chinese warships, Russian warships like touching us. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Chinese subs all around us. Everything.
So like when you say touching you, like going in.
Oh, there's been points where they come right alongside of us.
And this is international waters.
Yeah.
So it's like no one has any real authority out there.
No.
What are the? I mean, I can only kind of conceptualize like vehicle patrolling, like on an infantry level, right? Where it's like
probably somewhat the same.
Hey, if you get within this perimeter,
we're launching.
We're cleared hot.
Yeah, same
thing. Huh?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
So there's always kind of
there's always tension
in the water.
Yep, always testing. Yep.
And the thing is, like, that's one of those things where one little thing popped off and it could just go fucking ham.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the story about how when our Navy pretty much decimated the Iranian Navy? I think it was in the late 80s.
No.
That's what I'm saying. It's like this almost unknown story. And I watched a documentary on it like a month ago.
Where?
And
where's the documentary at?
It was somewhere. My buddy sent it to me on YouTube, so I'll find it.
Yeah.
But it's like we sank a bunch of their fucking boats. And it's like, why doesn't anybody ever talk about this? Because you always think of like the last major naval engagement, almost like World War II era. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But and then obviously you guys had a lot of specialized operations in Vietnam.
I think that's just what they don't talk about because secrecy and all that stuff. So
yeah.
What?
How long did you end up doing in the Navy?
5 to 6 years.
Okay.
5 years, I think. Yeah.
And so that involved one reenlistment?
None. I just extended. So
I just had one. That was an option.
Yeah, you can extend.
Okay.
So in order to get out, I needed my EAOS to, like your hard date to get out, kind of match the, So 2 warships. They sent me off to be a rescue swimmer. I hold on to that very dearly.
Talk to me about rescue swimmer. You're the second rescue swimmer to be on the show.
Really?
Well, actually, the other one was he was with the Coast Guard. So he
first female.
Yeah, first female. That's right.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
But he was in the Navy. He was Coast Guard.
Sweet. That's still. Did he jump out of helos?
Dude, he jumped out of helos for a long time.
Yep.
And then he said once he started getting kind of older, he's like, "How much longer can I do this?" And he's like, "Fuck it." He put in a flight packet, and then he started flying the helos.
Sweet.
And that's what he said. He's like, it was really beneficial to have worked in the back seat for half of my career and now I'm in the front seat doing the same mission, but really have an intimate understanding of what goes on in the back seat.
Well, that's why I didn't want to become an officer, because I wanted to understand what
Yeah.
all the enlisted do, right? Like we're the backbone, you know, and then I would be, if I stayed in, I would have been an officer, but.
Well, when you, and which is smart, if you're going to do a career, become an officer.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
but it wasn't a career.
When you said you got sent to rescue swimmer school, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yeah. Search and rescue swimming.
What did that entail?
So
were you
I was in Japan.
voluntold?
No, they asked me. And so another thing, like, sure, sign me up. I don't know if and this kind of goes with, I don't know if I missed my window, because I was thinking about going into EOD.
God, dude. Why does everybody want to go into EOD?
I don't know.
IEDs are not fun.
EOD. Well, yeah. I know, but couldn't be a SEAL.
EOD is dealing with IEDs.
Yeah. I was thinking so much more of like, I don't know, because we're on the water thing. Of course, they deal with water too, but.
So let me ask you that. Is EOD in the Navy primarily like minesweeping and that kind of stuff? Or
a bit of everything.
Do you guys get slotted for land operations and IED disarmaments as well?
I'd imagine both.
Okay.
Don't take my word on that.
Well, no, because I remember that there was lots of
But that's why I was like water, and then you said IEDs, and I was like, I don't know. That's where I don't really know.
Okay. Because I know, I mean, I can only go off of my experience where in like Ramadi and Fallujah in 04, those EOD guys wearing those big fucking bomb suits and shit, but they were all Marine Corps, I believe. Right. I'm not sure if they had the Navy augmenting them or not.
I don't know. But that was something that I wanted to do.
Fucking crazy ass.
Yeah. But but the timing wasn't right. So they're like, hey, we need a rescue swimmer, because you have to have 2 on board. It's mandatory.
Okay.
For a ship to get underway.
Does that change your rate?
No.
Or is it just like a...
So I didn't jump out of helos. It would have changed my rate if I was an air rescue swimmer, like on a carrier.
Okay.
Because those are the primary people on carriers.
And that's a full-time job for them.
Yeah. So I was planning on also, if I was staying, switching rates, cross rating over to air rescue.
Okay. But in your case, it was more of a...
It's shipboard.
So it's like another duty that you carry.
Yep.
Okay.
Collateral.
Yep.
Yeah. But I held on to it. It was just who I was. So they sent me, I was in San Diego for a good month. I wish this school was like 2 months. It was great. I was class leader, top of my class, leading a group of, I think we started with 30 people. And like after week 1, we dwindled down to like 11 or 12 of us. People fail.
Was the pool responsible for almost all of that?
I'd say because we did like the whole push-ups, sit-ups, swim, and run. I think, the pool was people's nemesis.
Okay.
For me, I was like, I was a swimmer, putting on my cap and goggles, and they were like, who is this girl? Yeah. So top of my class.
You did the butterfly stroke.
Yeah. You said, no, I'm going to make a butterfly. So, yeah, class leading a bunch of guys in the front. And I wasn't ever like the best runner, right? Like, but they had us run. And I think and for me, I have to work at running, but I love it because it's like something I kind of suck at.
Uh-huh.
But I got my 3 miles down in like 19 minutes.
Dude, don't tell me you're not a runner if your 3 mile time is.
But that's what I mean. But
that's absolute fucking stud shit.
No.
Like,
yeah, I know.
Savage.
I was the first female, like in when I tell you, so when we were in the pool, we would do sprints, like anywhere from 25 to 100, and then you go underwater, go. And then do another 50 underwater, go. So you're breathing to not breathing.
Uh-huh.
Getting yelled at all the time. Get out the pool, holding our fins here. It was the most intense. Like, I'm just goosebumps thinking about it.
You enjoyed it though.
Oh yeah.
Crazy ass.
Yeah. Yeah. I got honor grad, first female since the San Diego school opened to win or to get the honor graduate award.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. First female. And then I was only in Japan. I was the only one of the only female rescue swimmers on that waterfront.
Okay.
It was fucking cool.
What is, I mean, I guess when you say rescue swimmer, the title pretty much implies what the position entails. But on like a Navy destroyer, what is the thought process of having rescue swimmers? Literally, if someone falls overboard, you're going in after them?
Yep.
Is that okay?
If another, anybody. Yeah. Or civilians too. If like if the Coast Guard can't get to them, or like the helos can't get to them if, the carriers are out there, they're primary. If we're with the carriers, the helos will go out and drop their swimmer.
The guys that are, or gals that are full-time.
Yeah.
Is the full-time position open to women now too?
Oh, it always has been.
It has been? Okay.
Yeah.
Or go ahead.
Yeah. So we have to be ready, and like we have to, and we have all sorts of different wetsuits, gear, dry suits for the cold weather, especially when we got here to wash. I'm not used to 30-degree waters or 40, right?
Yeah.
So we'd have to layer up whatever. We have to be ready to go in like just a couple of minutes. So we had our locker on board. We would go change. Either they would, depends on how the ship is positioned and the sea state and everything. If they're going to basically throw me off the side of the forecastle, right? Go, and we would do drills. They would throw this dummy off board. Oh, man overboard.
Go get it, Jenny.
No. In the current, you don't know what is underneath you. That's the scary part. You have to go get this body.
Giant monsters.
Yeah, I'm scared of that.
You should be scared of that because we
don't know what's down there.
We are food in the ocean.
And I was wearing all black, maybe a bright orange helmet.
Yeah.
So they could see me on the ship, but then like underneath, I'm like, I might die.
No, it's funny. Like I have done a few night dives. I did a night dive on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia that was so black you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face.
Ugh.
And you just had that spotlight that was like the size of a dinner plate shining around. And I was like, I got back to the boat and I told Jenny, I said, you can call me a pussy, but I think I'm done with night diving. And she goes, thank God.
Yeah.
I hated that. And here's the thing, day diving, you're probably just as likely to get eaten because what can you really do if some giant sea monster wants to eat you? Nothing. But well, that's what it is. A great white shark is a fucking monster out of a fairy tale. They just happen to be real. So we normalize
and right
that.
There.
Yeah. But having an element of awareness, at least you might know you're going to get eaten.
You can see.
That's a little better,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
No, dude, jumping.
Yeah.
So like when did you say forecastle? Is that what you said?
Forecastle.
Forecastle?
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
the
know
bow.
what that is. Okay.
The whole the front quarter of the ship.
On my boat, we call it the bow.
That's fine.
Okay.
That works too. I'll know what you mean.
So you jump off of that?
Yeah, they like lower you down. You hook up.
Okay.
And then
so it's not like Saya fucking Nara.
Oh, that's
just send you.
That's way far up.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what I was imagining. I was like, just seeing Jenny getting fucking Sparta kicked off of the boat. Go recover that dummy.
Yeah. Well, or we would take our little boats, our little ribs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I love that you're a rescue swimmer that was like, I was afraid of getting eaten.
Oh, yeah.
But you still went and did it, right? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
How I've noticed that too in military service, when you're with your peers and you got people to your left and your right that hold you in a certain regard, even if you feel fear, you never show it.
Right.
You just, hey, let's fucking go.
Yeah. And I think that's where I learned a lot about myself. But I feel like I'm more of a late bloomer, right? Because I was probably 26, 27 when probably 27 when I went to SAR school. I learned a lot about myself. I don't think I've ever pushed that hard.
Do we ever stop learning about ourselves though?
But it was a complete turn of like, oh, this is who I am. I can start pushing for things now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. I think that like just thinking of it, that was, yeah.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then when I held on to that and I still miss it, always tempted to go back, but I would just go back as that, nothing else.
Is that completely off the table? I mean,
no, I'm still in reserves.
Oh, you are? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always like as long as I can keep like a toe on
Are
that.
you in active reserves or are you actually drilling?
I'm not drilling.
Oh, okay.
No, because
Got it.
I work nights. I can't flip like that.
Okay.
So they worked with me to where I don't have to drill. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the reserves for a little bit too, and I swear to God, you think 1 weekend a month isn't a big deal?
It is.
It's literally every single drill weekend happens to be the same weekend that some other major life event is happening.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they're in cahoots with your real life.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, I got to drill this weekend.
Yeah.
It's my best friend's wedding or whatever it is. It's always something. And it just got to the point for me where I was like, I mean, I ended up getting kicked out of flight school because I got hurt.
Right.
And so I ended up leaving the reserves for that reason. But I remember leading into that, it's just like, I don't know if the reserves is for me because I kind of want to be either all in or all out.
That's the same way. Yeah. Like I'm okay with like still being a part of it, attached to it a little bit because it's always could be like a fallback plan, whatever, right?
Well, as long as you have a IRR status, I think you can literally just go to MEPS and activate if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it used to be back in the day when they were hurting for people. I don't know if that's still the case or not. Well, sure. Retention's still fucked, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I left the Navy. I hated it.
So I'm confused now. You're sending me mixed signals.
But
you're a
the rescue
female
swimming
sitting across the desk or the table from me. So you should be sending me mixed signals.
Yeah, right. So the rescue swimming like brought out this other like person in me that I held on to very dearly. Like I can push after things. I'm tough. It just made me, I don't know the words for it. But then the Navy in itself was just terrible. The leadership, I dreaded going to work every single day. So I was in
is fucking, it's a terrible place to be at 27 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
it's interesting because that's exactly what the Marshal Service was to me. Like the Marshal Service as an agency was just, I was never impressed by it. Yeah. And it was like so many aspects of that agency fucking were disgusting. Mm-hmm. But the SRT team that I was on, which is like their equivalent to the SWAT team,
right? I
loved it. Yeah. So there was a little piece of that agency that it was like, and I remember saying, if SRT becomes a full-time position, I'll fucking be a deputy for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
Because those dudes and that mission was fun. Mm-hmm. But most importantly, the people that want to strive to be part of a specialized team, now you're surrounded by people to your left and your right that are just they're cut from a different cloth. Mm-hmm. They're more motivated. Yep. And that sounds like almost an identical scenario.
It was because I was stationed here after Japan, and Tuesdays and Thursdays we'd go to the pool on base here and practice. And I spent all morning with the guys from other ships, right? So us 2 swimmers from my ship and then other swimmers from across the waterfront. And it was just this family.
So for 2 mornings a week, you're with the Savages having a good time.
Yep. And I was away from the ship.
And then the contrast of that probably makes the other side of the job just like, ugh.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah. So when I left, it was hard to, I just had this negativity about the Navy. I hate saying that because I don't want to feel like that, Well,
there's a difference between just bitching versus sharing your authentic experience. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, if you didn't enjoy it, you didn't enjoy it. Mm-mm. And I think part of like, especially how I like to run this podcast is just give people the truth. Yeah. Give people authenticity. Because inevitably there's some young girl somewhere that's going to listen to this episode that's been kicking around this idea. Mm-hmm. Give her the truth. Yeah. I think it's important.
I'm an open book.
When did, so at what point did you start to decide you're probably going to ETS? Is that what it's called? Or is it EAS in the Navy?
EAOS, or just leave. Yeah.
It's just called leaving.
It's just called leaving now? Yes, I left. Get out.
Yeah. I'm fucking done.
Done.
Because correct me if I'm wrong. When we met, your mind wasn't made up or not yet.
Well, I was testing for law enforcement when we kind of met. So
you already knew you were done then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there comes a point where I'm like, oh yeah, no, this is not going to be anymore. Like I'm just in tune with that.
Is there any like specific incidents that pushed you away further, or was it just the overall culture wasn't congruent with who you wanted to be anymore?
Kind of both.
Okay.
Well, like I don't want to extend on this. My second ship was terrible. I hate to say that, but it was terrible. Like I saw no future in it. I'd have to leave. I liked this area. I'd have to extend on board, and shit was rough there. And there was just no, like, I was surrounded by so many beautiful but miserable people.
Elaborate.
I think that a lot of people get stuck in the military because they don't have any ambition outside of the military. Well, this is all I know. They're telling me what to do. They're not brave enough and strong enough to leave the military, which I showed a lot of people that they can do.
Yeah.
It's not that scary. Oh, I have a quote for you, but yeah.
Is
so
it's that you can share after the show?
Yeah, or on the show, it doesn't matter. I'll have to.
Yeah, pull it up
because this hit me hard. It's so true. Most people, and it's from a book. Somebody can probably find it. Most people prefer the certainty of misery to the misery of uncertainty.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. That hit me hard the other day. People are
no, you're right. There's a perfect quote for what you're just speaking of.
Yep.
Because I tell people all the time, everybody thinks that the military is this, like, you're waking up every day and you're running 10 miles and you're shooting guns and you're doing like all this hard, badass shit and it's super honorable. And it's like, don't get me wrong. There are aspects, just like we've been talking about with the marshal service or the military, there are aspects of it that are phenomenal and they're fun and they're powerful. They're empowering. Like some of the most pride I've ever held is moments of being an Army Ranger, right? But it's also kind of simple. Mm-hmm. And when I say that to people, some people take offense to that. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to take away from what that experience is. But like you just mentioned, the truth of the military is your bills are paid, your housing's paid, your insurance is covered. Like you get to kind of be a kid for 20 years.
For a long time.
Whereas as soon as you leave that environment, hey, you're on your fucking own.
You're on your own.
And it's time to put your fucking big boy pants on. Yep. And I don't even necessarily think that that's necessarily a bad thing, because for you to be fully invested in the military, they want to make sure the other aspects of life are taken care of.
Right.
So it's like, hey, we got you. You don't have to worry about, you got on-base housing and you got insurance and you're good. And now you can go all in on this, you know? But like, dude, did you know Steven at all when you guys were in? Did you work together, Steven Hand?
No.
Because you're stationed at the same place, right?
But
okay,
just
it's funny.
Completely different ship.
I see, different ship. Got it. Because he's saying like, man, he's going through that right now. He's preparing to get out, and it's like, hey, this is all new to me, and I'm 43 years old.
Crazy,
you know.
Well, that's why I left.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want the outside world to be this foreign thing that I won't know what to do at 43 years old. I would rather jump into it, right? And embrace like the outside, the scariness, the uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
And be fine. And I showed a lot of sailors that. So I go, really? You're going to get out? I'm like, yeah.
And I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to be okay. And now when I
starve to death.
Well, when I'm at work on the road, right? In my, patrol uniform, whatever. And I see sailors that I have worked with and they're like, whoa, I didn't think I'd ever see you. And then like, they're so blown away.
Say you didn't think you were going to see me, but now you are. A license, registration, and proof of insurance.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're so blown away by like just being successful outside of the military, and it's possible. Yeah.
Do you think? Because when I look at you as a human being, I don't know if I want to say I see myself in you, because that's kind of weird, but I feel like you are similar to me in the fact that like you like to be all in on stuff, and then it's on to the new adventure.
Yeah.
It's on to the next adventure.
Bored. Yeah.
I get bored.
I get bored
Easy too. And like, I'm good for like 5 years ish.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got to go do something else.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu's been the only thing that's been part of my journey the entire time that's been consistent.
Yeah.
I've moved all over the fucking country, had a bunch of different jobs, and it's like, I kind of like that though.
Right.
Do you foresee law enforcement being a permanent path, or are you just going to play it by ear and have fun with it?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Because I think the desire is to be stable, to have a career, right? Because I don't want to be, no offense, but I don't want to be someone that's like, oh, I've jumped so many careers and I don't know what to do with myself. Like, it's just that unstable scares me.
Yeah.
So part of me is like, I do get bored, but I want something to be like, I guess, the career, you know? So I even think about, I'm only like a year or two into this. So it's so early to be like, oh, like you can think about what you want to do, just different, like SWAT, or I even want to go Marine or dive, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense, right? And I think
I got on a Marine unit right before I got out.
Yeah.
And again, now I had several days a month that were a lot more enjoyable than the regular patrol shifts.
Yeah. So I'm looking at that, but I can't even really, you have to be on the road for a few years before you can do the extra stuff.
Specialized teams. Yeah.
And that's, I'm okay with that because I have so much to learn.
Do you want to run a dog ever?
I thought about it, but no.
No, just too much of a commitment after hours. Yeah.
Bring the dog home. If the opportunity presents itself and they need, okay. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Like, I'm okay with that. But I think it's more like Marine or dive. Yeah.
Okay. I see when I got hired at the port, and I never told them this, but me and Jenny knew. We said this is probably like a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Because, dude, and maybe you don't feel, I know you do feel it because we've talked about it. Walking around in kid all day, I don't care how savage you are. It starts to break you the fuck down, dude.
Well, that's the other part of me that's like, I want to be able to move and I don't want to be in gear.
Sitting in a car with gear on for 12-hour shifts. It does something to your body that if you haven't done that, I don't think you can fully wrap your head around what it does to you. And dude, this is coming from someone that's done all kinds of crazy shit in the athletics world. Sitting in gear fucking breaks you down.
It does. That's why the other part of me is like, I got to be careful with that too. I mean, I have backup plans.
Yeah.
Right. If this doesn't work out, on to the next thing. I have plans, but
I guess there's even positions inside of these agencies if you want to go become a detective or school resource officer, like different.
They're still geared up.
Oh, I guess they would be. Huh?
So another part of I want to be a part of the training department.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a coach, right? And I think there's guys up there that are doing great, but I think to bring a female into that department would be amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Especially with all the different new female hires and stuff like that coming in, I think it'd be very beneficial. So that's the other thing, is the training department. So just go up there in regular clothes and not gear.
Yeah, and allow yourself a break.
Yeah.
When you went to any of the specialized training in the Navy, because I think as far as law enforcement, standards for males and females are usually the same. I think they're always the same, right? I don't remember different standards for men and women.
They're not.
But in the military, there was when I was in. Okay. Is that still the case?
Are you saying with SAR school?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all the same.
All the same? Okay, good. That's how it should be.
Yeah. That's why there's not a lot of females in the school.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, for at least when I got in the military, I'm trying to think if it's changed or not at this point, but there was literally an age and sex standard. So you'd go to the chart and be like, oh, I'm a 26-year-old male, go down, I got to run this time.
So that's for our standard like PRTs every year.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like the standard, like, oh, you can do something active. They're stupid.
Yeah.
Like if you can't hold a 3-minute plank or like do some cardio, that's sad.
Well, a lot of people in the military are obese these days.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're not kicking people out for tape tests anymore, are they?
They are, but I feel like it's more lenient.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, like we can keep trying, or you just, it's gotten really weak in my opinion.
See, I was spoiled in the Ranger Regiment
Yeah.
because if you don't meet a standard, you get one retry,
Right.
and then you're gone. And that always made sense to me.
They just can't afford it.
In my 18-year-old brain, it's like, hey, if I drop below this many pull-ups, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So I can't do that.
Yeah. But we can't afford that.
I know we can't afford it. It's not a feasible thing.
Right. It's so, but in like SAR school, when they told me I was going, they told me in like the month of June, and I always was active, did CrossFit and stuff like that. But the pool still kind of was like a love-hate relationship because I like got out of college and it's like, I don't want to touch the pool, It's like, So they told me in June that I was going in like August. And I was like,
got 2 months to get ready.
2 months, and I did it. Not a big deal. So I would, on my lunch breaks from working hard on the ship, I would go spend my lunch breaks. I would run like a mile and a half to the pool on base. This is in Japan. Swim for like 30, 40 minutes and run back and then continue to work.
How long were you in Japan for?
Almost 4 years.
Oh, fuck. You're almost your entire enlistment.
Yeah.
Was that a cool spot to be
It
stationed?
was amazing.
Where
Yeah.
were you at?
Yokosuka.
Oh, yeah.
So south of Tokyo, way north of like the other, what's the marine base down
Okinawa?
there? Oh yeah, Okinawa.
Okay.
Way north of that. So, yeah.
Do you think that women should be Army Rangers and Navy SEALs?
Ooh, that's tough.
Of course it's tough. There's two sides to this. There's two sides to this.
We second guess shooting somebody. You guys don't.
I didn't know that women second guess shooting people because
we're the nurturing ones.
Because men love shooting people.
Right. I don't think that females do.
I would agree with that.
So I don't know if I agree with female. I might get hate for this, but
dude, it's just your opinion. Who gives a fuck?
Well, I think I was tough enough to go through SAR school. And I probably would be tough enough for like EOD, but like SEAL training, there's just something about it that's like men all the way. And I would be way more. I think it's cool if a female decided to. Well, there's nobody been yet. I don't think.
I don't think anyone's made it yet.
Cool. Like, that's great. But there's just a reason why. Like, it's just primarily men. And I'm okay with that because you guys excel at that way more considering there hasn't been a female yet.
Yeah. No, and I tend to agree with you on
Ranger,
that.
I can't speak about because that's not really.
That's,
no,
yeah,
I don't
outside.
know.
It's very similar.
Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, people say that and be like, oh, we're SEALs. We're nothing like Rangers. I'm not saying you're like Rangers because we're better than you.
Yeah.
But no. But when it just comes to like the grit and the toughness and the physical, the arduous tasks you have to do, like that's what selection is. It's just getting your dick kicked in for fucking.
Well, and I think men can handle that a lot better than women.
See, and I don't know because like I've never experienced a female going through that.
It's different.
But there's a couple females that I know, really two, you and Ange.
Yeah.
That I think could probably excel on the physical side of it just because you're absolute fucking machines when it comes to training. But then the other side of the coin that people don't want to touch on is the psychological aspect of not only being a female in a combat unit, but if I'm in the mountains of Afghanistan for 6 months with my team, which I was, patrolling from fucking mountaintop to mountaintop and then going back to our safe house and refitting and then going back out into the mountains. If a girl was in my team doing that stuff, I'm inherently going to be more concerned about her safety.
You're not focused.
And then I'm probably going to want to fuck her too.
Oh, literally.
And it's like, oh, you can't say that.
But then
guess what? Because the men inside of the special operations community are hyper sexual people.
I'm sure.
They're literally fucking oozing testosterone. And if there's any lack of testosterone in anyone, guess what? You get it through synthetic sources.
Yeah.
Another thing that people don't want to talk about in the special operations community, but fucking everybody's juiced. Everybody's a wild animal.
I have no problem with that.
I don't either. It was a good time.
In order for you to be that elite and that focused and that in shape and to recover.
That's right.
6 months in the mountains, you
That's
really
right.
think that you're
There
going
is
to
no
recover.
recovery.
No, there's not.
And so but it would be so detrimental to the unit if it's like, hey, she's my fucking girlfriend. I don't give a shit. She dumped you and now I'm with her. And that kind of shit will start happening because we're human beings.
Well, and it tears the focus and the mission apart.
Exactly. And for me, that is more of a concern than is she physically tough enough to do the job? Because you get, what's her name? Annie Thor's daughter or whatever. There are women out there that are physical savages.
Yeah.
And whatever standard you put in front of them, undoubtedly there's some girls that could do that.
Yeah.
But human beings are going to do what human beings do too. Yeah. And I can tell you, and I'm sure you've seen this on the boat. Iraq 04 was a fucking, the bases were like an orgy.
Jesus.
And it's because, dude, our base got attacked multiple times a day.
Yeah.
We got ambushed and attacked almost daily. And all the fucking, and dude, we were on a Marine base and there was tons of Marine girls there. Everybody knew that I might get blown up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so, you know what?
Whatever.
We're having fun.
Yeah.
And we're living life.
Yep.
And it's still strange to me that the military is like, you can't have alcohol. You can't have sex. No. You can't do that. Basically, you can't do anything that's enjoyable and go out and fight a war and get fucking blown up tomorrow.
Yeah. All your normal life stuff. No.
Yeah.
But then let's just focus on this.
Yep. Let's just go.
Well, this goes back to when we first started. Like you said, I'm comfortable with saying that men and women are different.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I'd be okay if I was presented the opportunity to go be
That's not for you.
No.
Would you at least just go through? Would you at least just go through buds to show me that you could complete the physical aspect of it, and then be like, all right, I'm out because men and women are different.
I'd ring the bell so quick.
No, ring the bell right at graduation.
Right. Oh God.
I beat everything. I handled everything you threw at me, but I just don't think this is for me.
That'd be crazy. I don't know. Yeah, I think I would, but now it's like I get hurt more often. I'm like, God, I couldn't recover.
No, I think of
and I don't think also all the synthetic stuff for women I don't think it goes hand in hand as well as when guys take it. So
no, because you guys take just a drop of testosterone. Your voice drops, you get a hairy chest.
Yeah. I don't think that's right.
Everything falls apart quickly.
I don't think that's right. We're the nurture. I mean, again, this goes back to you guys were made first, right? You guys are awesome. Going to war first. We weren't allowed to be a part of any sort of war thing until the 30s or 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're the nurturing ones. We have babies. Right. I'm not saying just to stay home and do that and do nothing else with your life, but it's just different. Right. So if a girl is with you in the mountains,
100%.
Yeah,
it's different.
It's different. And that is okay.
It's not only okay. I mean, I agree with you. It's okay. Right. I say that I even say that about races. You can't say that. You can't say that about a race. It's like, dude, some certain races of people show to be better at certain things.
Absolutely.
What is a problem with us being different and having different strengths?
If we were the same, it'd be so boring.
Be fucking boring as shit, dude.
Yeah. And we can learn things from each other. But then another thing is if a female's going to the mountains, we have certain female things we got to take care of. Right.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
It's just exponentially
I'm
more
in a patrol
difficult.
Base and you're supposed to be watching your sector and you're like, hey, well, here's another thing. Do you know what a slit trench is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, lucky you. I'll get to educate you. Okay. So what a patrol base is, and it's basically think of a triangle, right? And you have machine gun on each apex, and then each leg of the triangle is manned by a certain number of rangers that is dictated by the environment. If it's a non-permissive, semi-permissive, or permissive environment, meaning what's the intel say on the threat level?
Got it. Okay. Threat level.
And now we can have either 100% security where every single person is facing outward, watching their sector, or can we have 30%, let a couple guys eat food and take a nap, right?
I guess we have that on the base here.
Okay.
Yep.
So in the middle of the patrol base, you dig a 6-foot trench.
Okay.
That's a foot wide and probably 2 feet deep. And that's where everybody shits and pisses. And so it is not uncommon. In fact, it's a daily occurrence to see your homie straddling the slit trench, taking a shit and wiping his ass. And he's 4 feet behind you. And you're usually talking shit to him while he's doing it and trying to humiliate him. And we're having fun with it and just being jokesters about it. Right.
Now put a girl there.
That's a different fucking thing.
I wouldn't want to.
No, that's a different thing. And I mean, I've heard that like,
I think if a female steps into that role, she's gonna become like one of the guys.
Well, she would have, there is no other way. If you want to take a shit when you're on
but it's not the other way around. Like guys don't just be like, oh, let's start to be like more like females.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Saying.
So
I'm good. I don't need no trenches.
So yeah, as I say, all you women out there that are interested in being part of a special operations unit, just know the slit trench may be in your future.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know what I've heard is, because slit trench is how they do it in real operations, dude, when we're in Ranger school, when we're in RIP, when we're training, it's the same thing. Like train as you fight.
Yep.
But I've heard now that they will bring porta potties out to facilitate the female trainees. And it's like, last time I checked in the Afghanistan mountains, there's no fucking porta potties.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when PC bullshit starts to infiltrate our military.
Just different.
What did you see in the military? Did you see a shift in military culture just while you were in?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Because I was only in for a short window, though we're
5.5 years isn't a short window though. I mean, I feel like, but also like,
what was the first thing that, like, I didn't really know. Okay. I was like, okay, we're going out on the water and, these Chinese ships would be pretty close, but it didn't like whatever, just new person here, just doing what they're told. Like I didn't really pay attention to it, which sounds very silly.
Well, when you're a fucking private, or I don't know what the word is.
Yeah.
Seaman.
Yeah.
Is that an E1? What's an E1 in the Navy?
You're a seaman until you get to E4 and then you're a petty officer.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same E1. Yeah.
So Tom King, did you know him when you were in? Dude, I feel like when
his ship was down in like Seattle. So he would come up here.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it was this whole thing where they were fixing the ship down in Seattle. And then like
talking to him about some of the cultural things he's seen in the Navy over the last couple of years was shocking to me.
What? I might agree, but like what?
Like he was E5, right? So he's a sergeant. Same. He has the ability. What is an NCO's one of the primary job of an NCO? At least when I was in, is making on the spot corrections for other soldiers or sailors that are not meeting the standard. Right? Isn't that part of being an NCO? Is that still part of being an NCO in the military?
Maybe.
You're like, I don't know, right? And he said like, we have our regulations for uniform and personal appearance and stuff like that.
Oh, and how that relaxed a little bit? Is that what he's trying to say?
He said it is to the point where it's like, if you try and be like, hey, your hair's out of regs or whatever, be like, he said it to a black girl one time, and she's like, y'all can't make corrections on black folk. You can't do that.
Yeah, now that he's saying that.
And he was like, wait, what are you talking? What? And so he brought it up to his chain of command, and they're like, oh, here's the deal, Tom. Or I'm sure the King, due to retention numbers, we've decided that we're not going to focus on certain aspects of blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, it's like military discipline is collapsing before my very eyes.
Now we can have hands in our pockets. Walking around. So yes, in that regard, yes, we've gotten, that's why I said earlier it's gotten weak.
Yeah.
It's because we have to cater to this or that, or people are sensitive and we have to, oh, I'm sorry. No. Yeah. I mean, departments, even law enforcement departments have been slacking in that area too. Like they're
hands in the pocket.
Crazy.
If we're being honest, has it ever really mattered? But in the military, you hold yourself, that's right? What I'm saying. In the military, hands in the pocket has been always considered an international sign of laziness, comfortability, and then just not being alert, stay alive, right? And that's but
now it's okay.
You're just lounging around
Like I'm going to have this uniform on that doesn't fit me because I eat pizza and then put my hands in my pockets. Yeah.
Dude. At what point, how did the hands in the pocket policy get changed?
Leadership.
Did someone somewhere be like, "Why can't I have my hands in my pockets?"
Can you imagine complaining
filed
about
a
that?
complaint, or did somebody get gigged for it and they're like, "Oh, watch this, I'm gonna push back."
Maybe.
Right? And then they win.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh fuck, dude. I honestly feel like I got to be and you know what? Every single generation of sailor, soldier, airman, and Marine probably feel this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not special. But I feel like I got the last good run before the fucking wheels fell off.
Probably.
You know?
Yeah. So it's funny because, you mentioned Tom. So this is for you, Tom. When he was still here, I believe it was him. I was him. If you get mad at me, sorry. He was asking me about rescue swimming because I think he was interested in doing it too. But he was like, "Man, I'm not a runner. I can't do it." And I was like, looking up at him because he's so tall. I'm like, bro,
that fucking dude is one of the best athletes I've ever met.
But what I mean is like people, and like, that's why I think, like, I hope that this encourages people to step outside of their comfort zone because I did. I continue to do it daily. And I'm a rescue swimmer. I was the top of my class as a female, other guys dropping out, right? Because they can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, so for those.
So basically what you're saying is you're more badass than Tom.
For sure.
Dude, I'll tell you.
But I got mad because I'm like, don't tell me that you can't run. Like, you see me, I'm 5'6", but I work my 3 miles down to this or that, right? Don't tell me like you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't. So Tom, go do it.
That fucking dude also has the most natural talent for jiu-jitsu out of any human being I've ever met.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's fucking nuts. Isn't that
his thing?
And when I say that, I don't say that lightly.
Yeah.
Like that I don't understand what's going on.
He's eating it up.
He is, it was like, hey, you want to build someone in a lab to be perfect at jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu, yeah.
It's his body.
Yeah.
But then his brain fucking fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And it's all he thinks about.
That's cool.
And it's fucking badass.
Yeah.
And if he wins a world title one day, I won't be surprised.
That's cool.
Like, I'll be excited. I know that guy. He's one of my purple belts, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I won't be surprised. It's fucking
cool.
Different thing.
Yeah. I love that for people.
Of course.
That they just like download it, and that's who they are. And it's, I love it.
He hurt a lot of feelings around here.
Oh.
And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Sure.
But being a blue belt, submitting most of the brown and black belts regularly.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow.
Yeah.
But like,
so dang tall. And then even when I would roll with him, like, bro, you trying to kill me? Like,
of course, he's always trying to kill everybody.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, he goes hard.
Yeah.
But it's funny too, because when he moved to California and he's actually training at Legion, which is Keenan Cornelius' gym, a very high quality gym.
Good.
And he's like, there ain't no one down here like Daniel. I was like, that's right. We have one of the best kept secrets in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's cool.
You know, it's funny when I was asking, hey, do you know this guy? Do you know that guy? Because they were in the Navy, right? Mm-hmm. It reminds me, I've had a few times in life where like a grandma would be like, oh, my grandson's in the Army. Do you know him? It's like, no, I don't know your fucking grandson. There's 200,000 people in the Army. And now I've become that grandma.
Yeah, you have.
So my bad.
Yeah. I was at work last night, but I stopped to get some food. And this older couple, grandma and grandpa, walking behind me, and they're like, oh, thanks for your service. My grandson is this and this. And I'm like, I'm actually working with him right now, which is so weird. So on the flip side of things, it's funny because it's not.
Yeah. No, that's as ridiculous as it sounds. Every once in a while, that happens too.
Yeah.
And it's like the military's fucking big.
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels pretty small.
Really small. Yeah. So
yeah, if you're that old fucking grandma that's grandson is in the Army, you can ask me if we serve together.
You become that grandma.
Yeah, because only I can make fun of me in this studio. Right? as far as we can move past the Navy now. I wanted to dive into the Navy.
Fun.
I want to talk about all that stuff.
Fun. I don't mind.
When you got out, you already knew you were going to be a cop. Like you already mentioned that earlier. That transition was happening as you got out of the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
What inside you made you want to do that? I know we talked about like brotherhood, sisterhood, camaraderie, like service, but what else made you like?
I knew I'd be good at it. I knew I'd be good at it. The whole thing with trying to change people's minds about cops, especially because it was so bad, right?
Okay, that makes sense now. There's a challenge aspect of it.
Yeah, challenge not only for like me to help influence other people, but also for myself to step into that role. People don't do that, so it was a challenge for myself to be like, okay, these are scary things that I'm headed into, but like I'm ready for it. So, and then also just kind of with my background and how I was born and raised with helping people out, missionaries. So that's always.
I didn't know you were a missionary growing up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Born and raised.
So you're born and raised in Texas, but what did being a missionary entail? Did you go to fucking Indonesia and all that shit? And
yeah, no, not quite.
Okay.
My parents travel all around the world still to this day. And just they're in some areas are more not as open to missionaries coming through. So different. My dad has gone to different countries.
You mean like that country where that guy went on the beach and got fucking filled with spears?
Yeah, he goes to those places.
Did you watch that documentary? It was a guy that wanted to go on a mission to a place that has never been reached by outside people. And fuck, I can't remember where it was. Okay. I think it's like in the Indian Ocean somewhere or something. Okay. And the last people that went there got killed. And he's like, I have God on my side. I'm going to go there and I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got on the beach, they fucking threw a bunch of spears at him too.
Crazy. Yeah. My dad has traveled all over the world.
Really?
Yeah. Cause he wants to reach the unreached. He goes on Joshua Project. He posts stuff about people that nobody's ever heard of, different tribes, different nations. He gives people opportunity. Like oftentimes he's a good person, right? Like that's how you get to know people first. So they can the different cultures and religions around the world, right? That's how you kind of open up like, hey, I'm here to just be a good person, right? And like they've built wells over in Tanzania for the people just for water, right? But they're like Muslim over there, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tanzania is primarily Muslim.
Yeah. So, and then my dad has gone anywhere to the North Korea area and just been a good person and built, anything from buildings to rice factories to bread factories and fed people. And since he was 23 and now he's 60 something. He rides his motorcycle around the world too.
Did you accompany him on any missions when you were younger, or did he kind of pause to raise the family?
He didn't pause. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, so but they would raise support together.
He was out doing his thing
more or less. I mean, we've gone on missions trips with them, but that's my hope. Thinking about next year going with them.
Let me ask you that. Can I play devil's advocate for a minute?
Go ahead.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there somewhere in the Bible that says if you've never heard the word of God, you're not held to his standards or something like that? Like you can't expect some person in the Amazon rainforest.
Well, that's why it says in the Bible too that he's not coming back until all the ends of the world are reached.
Oh, so now it's
we have a job to do.
Hey, you got to go fucking talk to everybody.
But here, like, how many people in the States have heard? They might not be following, but they've had a chance to hear about God.
100%. Yeah.
Bibles are everywhere.
So this is my question.
Okay.
If you've never heard of God and you're good, why go fuck those people by giving them a choice?
So we all have choices.
Yeah, but if they never knew, they already got a free ticket into heaven. Don't go fuck that up.
Maybe, but he's not coming back. God's not coming back until they hear about something, right? And then they can make that decision.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because they have a free ticket. Why do you got to give them a choice?
I got a free fucking ticket.
Why do you got to make a choice?
Then you just showed up on your boat all randomly, handed me this fucking book, and now I'm going to burn in hell.
No, literally. Yeah. So that's a good point. I'm all like, wait, that's a good point.
You're like, yeah, I'm going to go home and tell my dad to stop driving your motorcycle into the jungle.
Yeah. No.
Because Greg says you're fucking them.
Don't give him a choice, Dad. They're over there right now in Tanzania.
Oh, are they?
Mm-hmm. Both of them. My dad has ran into Somali pirates. And my dad's the fucking man.
Is he?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's gnarly.
Can you share any gnarly stories, or is it?
Well, just like he's gone at almost everywhere in the world, even through COVID. He builds up his motorcycles to handle like the Silk Road and these gnarly roads. His kind of name, I guess, is Motovision. So if anybody wants to look that up, he's on YouTube, he vlogs, all that stuff. A lot of times it'll get paused because of like nations like butting heads on transportation. So he can't transport his bike over here or there, right? So he has to like airlift it and crazy things. But like the Somali pirates, like he thought he was going to die. They like just pulled him off the road. He's like on his bike. And then he just headed into this village. And sometimes we'll only track him by his GPS watch.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes like, all right, Dad, maybe see you in heaven. I don't know.
So your dad's a wild animal.
Fucking wild. Yeah.
Dude, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was like, yeah, for like 30 minutes or whatever, they had their guns at me. And I was like, okay. Yeah. My dad's gnarly.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah. He does things that, I mean, I say that people don't want to do my job, which is true, but nobody wants to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it ain't a job for him. He's out living his passion.
Right. No, it is his passion.
Man, I was supposed to go to Tanzania on 2 separate occasions.
Really?
To climb Kilimanjaro.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yep.
And both times, first time we found out Jenny was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you shouldn't go climb mountains in Africa pregnant. So it got canceled. And then it wasn't until 10 years later we rebooked it. We're like, we're finally going to climb Kilimanjaro.
10 years.
And then COVID hit. And we booked and paid for it both times and lost all of our fucking money. So that's how it goes. But I think the universe is saying, stay the fuck out of Tanzania. So now I'm reluctant.
I don't know how my parents do it. They fight.
Now I'm reluctant to go back.
They fight. They fight for that stuff. They don't back down. Yeah.
My neighbor's from Tanzania, and
Really?
he was actually trying to sell me a piece of property there.
Oh, okay.
It's like on some massive game reserve.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess that's like that industry is blowing up.
Yeah.
And
I went to South Africa. I was a powerlifter for a long time. Went to Worlds, went to Nationals, all that stuff.
see, dude, why are you just breezing by this shit, dude? When you talked about being a powerlifter, like, oh, you're going to fucking world championships in South Africa?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. We have 12 more minutes.
Okay, 12 minutes.
That's a good story.
Can wrap this up. I found CrossFit first, and then I found out that I was really strong. So, but I always had been. Like, my parents always knew that I was strong. I could, come lift this, come lift that. In high school, I'd be like benching a lot. You know how you have those like little records up on the board
Of
back in
course.
high school gym.
Do you remember your high school bench record?
Yeah, 155 for like 14-year-old, 15-year-old.
Okay.
Like skinny still, because I didn't put on muscle till I was a swimmer.
Yeah.
And then we would do weights and stuff while we were swimmers, and I would just demolish that. So I found CrossFit, and then I found I was really good at like squat, bench, and deadlift. Right. So I went to local meets, and then that's kind of your ticket to nationals. So I'd start going to nationals and training hard for powerlifting. I kind of put CrossFit to the side, right? Because I just found something that I was so good at. Yeah, I feel like you have a question.
Well, when you say squat,
Bench, and
deadlift, how is that structured in the competition? Is it like the sum of those 3 lifts?
Yep, your total.
In relation to your body weight?
So we have weight classes.
Okay.
Yep, and then just the total. So your heaviest lift. So you have 3 in competition. You have 3 lifts. your first and second and third attempt, right? For all 3 lifts.
Okay. So for each lift, you get 3 shots at it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you have your opening, your middle, and then your final weight. So even if you fail, right, your third weight and your second squat, bench, or deadlift attempt was the heaviest one, that goes towards your total. It's the same way with Olympic lifting too. You know, they have their snatch and clean and jerk, right? But
fucking shit is terrifying.
It is. I love it. I took a stab at that for a bit, but powerlifting was just so big in my life at the time. So yeah. And then.
So what's an impressive breakdown of like female powerlifter numbers?
God, that's crazy now. Like there's small, like for the weight classes, there's some like girls that weigh like 140 and are squatting in mid 3s.
Fuck,
and
dude.
benching over. Yeah. But that's like that's their thing.
Of
You know,
course.
that's where they're training all the time. Like games athletes, national level, world level, powerlifters, jiu-jitsu guys, like that is their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was good at it because especially I still wanted to make sure I could run or swim or still do CrossFit. Like that was important to be like very well-rounded.
So you never went 100% all in?
To where you're right.
Well, let me ask you this then, because a lot of powerlifters, you always hear powerlifters never want to be in a caloric deficit. So there are like a lot of powerlifters are carrying a lot of body fat around with them.
Yeah, I would fluctuate between different weight classes.
Is that similar with the females too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, because a lot of girls would cut so hard, and it's probably still true this day. Because I went through it. I cut so hard because I wanted to look this way, fit into this weight class, that weight class. Cut so hard, be miserable. Can't eat anything else besides your meals, whatever. And then you just like you're depleted. You're kind of strong, but it takes forever because you can't recover. So a lot of times, like they'll go up to a heavier weight class. Yeah, it's people think it's really cool, but it's a lot of work to try to fit into a weight class, especially for females, right? Because we take a lot of things, just, you know.
What do you mean?
Like for me, when I was in between weight classes because they got rid of a middle weight class, which they brought back. But of course they got rid of it when I was, so annoying. So I had to make sure like to fit, like I'm a young woman already, like, you know, wanting to look good and just like this, you know, like all the body dysmorphia stuff, look good, be strong, all this stuff.
But you're too fat for this weight class.
Right.
Okay.
So then I would like go up to the bigger weight class, which would like fuck with my mindset even more. Like, oh, now I just gain weight, but I'm super strong. So it was just this like having weight classes, and I might not, I think I'm speaking for the majority of like female athletes when they have to fit into a weight class. It just is so different. It like hits you different mentally. Or we were talking the other week about like what we think about ourselves, like confidence and stuff like that. Yeah, it messes with all that stuff.
Dang. I never really thought about that because like weight classes for men in combat sports, it's just always been how it is.
Yeah.
And like, and they're silly sometimes. Like people will be like, oh, let's cut 20 pounds and fight at lightweight. Yeah. Or you could I literally had a fight one time that it was scheduled for lightweight. And my coach called me up and he goes, hey, your opponent just asked if you're willing to fight at welterweight so you guys don't have to do a big weight cut. I'm like, yeah, this is just some local amateur card. Like we're not fighting for rankings or a shot at some title or anything. We're just 2 guys fighting each other. Mm-hmm. Why would we starve ourselves if we don't have to?
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, welterweight sounds like the best fucking thing in the world.
Yeah. But it's just.
But I never thought about it from a female perspective because
it's
like
so different.
It does. It affects the female psychology of weight is different.
Yep. Because it's just harder for us in general to lose weight. And
I know it's always funny because talking to Jenny and Ange, just like staying accountable to each other, you know, I can wake up tomorrow morning and be anywhere between 200 and 190. And just based on how much steak and apples I ate today.
Crazy.
And they're like, how the fuck can you have a 10-pound swing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just my body. But most dudes are like that.
Yeah.
Like I could cut 30 pounds in a week if I wanted to.
Wild. It would take us like 3-4 months. And like,
and don't get me wrong.
Anything.
When I say cut 30 pounds, that's a lot of that's water weight.
Sure.
It's not 30 pounds of fat.
No.
But just the ability, and it's also because we're bigger too.
Yeah.
The bigger you are, the easier it is to have those weight fluctuations. What was your PR on those 3 lifts? Do you remember?
I squatted around 350. I benched 240, and deadlift was close to 400.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fucking
and then I stopped to join the military, right? So, yeah. But now I can probably even though I'm not powerlifting,
you can still throw those numbers around?
Not those, no. Well, I was injured. My first real injury. That sucked.
What was your the back?
Yeah, my bulging discs. Yeah, I had 2.
Actually diagnosed, like you had an MRI done and
X-rays,
X-ray?
Not MRIs, because I had no nerve pain and I was not going to do surgery.
Well, you don't need to for bulging.
Right.
Once they're herniated, now it becomes an issue.
Now it's great. It just,
No, that's a good thing. I'm glad you brought that up because a bulge disc can make a full recovery if you do the right thing.
Yeah, and I did. The building back, right, getting stronger again is tough. So it's still scary. Like I don't ever want to feel that pain again.
Was it like a pop or twang, or was
idea.
it just like, oh, I woke up, I'm feeling kind of
Like
sore?
I was sore for the longest time since last May.
Okay.
I was sore. And then in the fall, it became structural. And then I couldn't.
I remember you were fucked for a while.
Fucked up. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't get changed. I couldn't put my own clothes on. But I would have to. I would take like an hour to try to move. And I was in
You're like, I couldn't put my own clothes on, but I had to.
I had to.
Because you're probably not gonna be able to text someone, hey, come get me dressed.
Right. Chris is at work or whatever, right? But it was sleeping sucked. I never want to feel that pain again. Ever.
Well, dude, if I'm being honest, that's a big reason why I don't go to that side of the house anymore.
Yeah.
It got to the point where anytime I'm doing any type of Olympic style lifting, pop, my back would go out. And dude, it doesn't go out at jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I can wrestle hard
Isn't that crazy?
Fuck.
Yeah.
And fatigue myself and just absolutely smoke the dog shit out of myself. And if it's on the mats, don't get me wrong, you can tweak your knee. There's like lots of injuries that can happen. There's lots of injuries that can happen in jiu-jitsu. But that fucking lower back pop that kept happening, like is to the point where you said it, I'm afraid now.
Yep.
And it's like now, once that's in the back of your mind, it's like, dude, it doesn't feel like once it's happened enough times, it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah.
And it just kind of fucks the whole vibe up of training.
Well, I had to really step back, but I was still training. I wasn't rolling because that hurt. I could not roll the way my
well, we're going to blame CrossFit for injuring you. And then jiu-jitsu just made it hurt.
Yes. I had to step away, but I still worked out. I did a ton of core stuff, mobilized, went to the chiropractor, and it just took months, but I did it right. And I think that people saw that and really took to it and admired it.
As they should, yeah.
And they were learning stuff too, because when people were injured, they're like, hey, if Jenny was able to go through it and recover and be still strong, I can probably still, it's not great, but like still squat, even though I don't really squat or power lift much. Maybe squat in the mid 200s, which is great, 250, 275. I can still bench 200 and then maybe pull 350. But as long as I'm well-rounded in general, that's what I love.
Well, and I don't think we even mentioned it. You're a coach here.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if I don't remember if we mentioned that or not, but you're one of the coaches here. And that is why when you say like, oh, people saw me do this, it's like, when clients or students, whatever you want to call them, watch somebody go through something that is very, very proficient and is one of the leaders, that's a good thing for them to, that's that path to watch and understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
In regards to CrossFit, I want to get your opinion on this because you have been on both sides of the powerlifting world where it's like 3 lifts and take my best one. Mm-hmm. And how much time do you have in between those lifts?
Depends. If it's a full like class, it's like usually 7 minutes.
Okay. And 7 minutes between a deadlift is a long fucking time, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like, oh, you're fully recovered now. Like I get like you're still fucking getting after it.
Yeah.
But as soon as, for me, something that was always I would struggle with CrossFit is to take an Olympic lift and then say, do as many as you can do in 2 minutes. And it's like, dude, I'm not even very good at Olympic lifting when I'm doing it slow. And now I'm going to do it as fast as I can.
Right.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Do you think that the CrossFit missed the mark on that one? You're a coach. You can't talk shit publicly.
No, I don't know. I think just so much of my perspective has changed over the years. Like I can't go red line anymore. Like people are giving themselves rhabdo for what?
Well, yeah.
For what? Just to say that you did that. Like, okay, you did a fast time. Now you're fucked. And that will always be a part of training now.
For me, I'll never forget this. The one of the worst back injuries I ever had was clean and jerking 185 pounds. So not a lot of weight.
Right. You
know, not super light for me. Like I'm not a super.
Or you're throwing it around for reps.
And I was just being reckless and just throwing it around for reps. And I felt a pop, and I'm so stupid because I know what that pop means, but sometimes I'll convince myself, let's just try and finish the workout. Mm-hmm. Don't finish the workout.
Yeah. No, don't.
Don't do that.
So you'd rather be in so much pain because you finished the workout and you can't let go of that ego.
100%. It's all ego, for sure.
It's all ego.
And now I say the same thing to my students on the mats. If your neck or your knee or something pops and it feels off, I don't even care if it hurts or not. Because a lot of times with adrenaline, you don't know what the injury entails until the next morning.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so.
Stop now. We want you back tomorrow.
Yep. But that's I honestly think you can try and impart that side of wisdom on people. I do. And it seems like it's one of those lessons that
I do.
People just have to walk that path.
Yep. Yeah. I think you have to get injured to like kind of learn that too.
Have you?
And it's also mentally, like, I think physically I was in so much pain, but to be mentally okay, I guess is the right word, to be like, oh, I'm sitting out. Like this sucks.
Yeah.
I'd like strengthen that.
Well, dude, that was my next question is because what I see in jiu-jitsu, and not just in me, but in the majority of the athletes here, if you get hurt and you get fucked up and you have to sit out for a period of time, most people come back from that in becoming a better version of themselves. Mm-hmm. Because that period of sitting out, you had to go through some phases of frustration, acceptance. It's almost like you're grieving who the fuck, the savage that you were, and you're going through this process, accepting that you are now a diminished version of yourself. And then what's the path look like to getting back on the horse and becoming who you were again?
And you have to put blinders on.
100%.
Because that's what I had to do after the scuffle. We won the last 2 years in a row.
That's right.
And I was in so much pain, but I did it, and
you won.
We won. But then I think that just made everything worse, and then but there it was, like the whole ego.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's really bizarre that our ego, because don't get me wrong, if I were to work my way into the Jiu-Jitsu World Championship one day, mm-hmm. and some dude has me in an arm bar, you might have to fucking break it.
Yeah.
Because what's on the line right now is the recognition of being the best man on planet Earth.
Yep.
And there's been dudes like Jacare let Hodger Gracie break his arm in the final of the World Championship, and then he won. Took his broken arm, tucked it in his belt, and fucking won. Which is it's like fucking fairy tale shit, right? But I can get at that level. I also watched Tammy Musameki get her arm broken live in the fight. She was going against one of my teammates, Michele Nicolini, and Michele broke her arm in the finals of the World Championship, and she wouldn't tap, right? I get that. Mm-hmm. But when you're doing a local tournament here and you work at Boeing and you have 3 kids and you're a blue belt and jiu-jitsu is just a hobby, don't get your fucking arm broken.
No.
And I've seen it happen before. Yeah. Like, Guys, fucking A, it ain't worth it.
I have a comp at the end. Oh, crap. At the end of this month. And then this summer scuffle is.
Oh, are
in
you doing the
August.
one on 27th with Potts?
Yep.
That's promotion day.
I know, but you changed it.
No. Well, I did change it.
Yeah, but this one, this comp we'd already paid for, like months ago.
Are you jiu-jitsu or are you CrossFit?
I know.
This is where you have to. This is where you have to make your
I'm
decision.
gonna go and win, and then I'll come back.
You can tell Hofstadter, hey, I'm fucking done with your shit.
I know. Well, have you said anything to Potts?
I talk shit to him too. I was like, come on. Well, actually, I think I was saying what's the timeline look like on that event? But competitions, if it's anything like jiu-jitsu, sometimes
jiu-jitsu's long. CrossFit usually ends at like 2.
Oh, okay.
1 or 2.
We'll show up late then.
Yeah.
Okay.
We both are. We both are bummed about it, but that comp is going to be like, all right, we're just here to move. It's not like right now it's not about first place. I mean, it always should be, right? To be your motivator, but going back to the injury thing, it's always here. Like I will never go back to that.
If you don't get first place, I'm going to disown you.
Okay.
After telling everyone what a savage you are.
I am still.
Well, fuck, dude, we're at 2 hours.
Okay.
Did that feel like it went quick to you?
Yeah.
Okay, it always does. People are like, where the fuck did the time go?
Yeah.
And it's time to open the gym because we got fucking training coming up. But is there anything that you want to close out with or any thoughts you had or anything else on your mind that you want to share? Because the truth is I can go and lock the door and let people come in and we can talk for as long as we want.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if they listen to this, they'll take some key points that they'll carry on and they'll learn from it.
Of course.
From whether what you said or I said. So
I like to talk, so I try and minimize it when I have guests on, but sometimes I just start fucking rambling. So
no, you're sharing your stories. People take a lot from it. So no, thank you.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for coming up. That was fun. I knew it'd be a fun episode because you're fun to hang out with.
Thank you. Yeah, I found my people here.
Does Josh know that we're your people?
I don't know.
Okay, because I'm going to take this soundbite and I'm going to text it to him just to clear the water so he understands exactly what's going on around here.
Okay, cool. Well, you guys are probably going to fight, but
good. As long as it's not.
I told you on that picture that you're my people.
As long as it's not a deadlift competition, I'm good to go.
Get out of here. We need to bring him to the mats, but
All right, we'll get him here soon. All right, thank you, Jenny. I appreciate your time.
Yep.